Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report. This weekend, our marketing roundtable here from the University of Illinois, thanks to Golden Harvest. Joe Jansen, Scott Irwin, as well as Matt Bennett joining us. Matt, before I get into these University of Illinois experts, you are an alum here. We will not mention what year. You are a farmer, agmarket.net. You are in the field right now. There are some high hopes for this Illinois corn crop this year. There were. Do you think that story has changed as these combines get rolling?
You know, I think relatively speaking, Illinois might not achieve that 214 that we originally forecasted here last month. 214 was an awful lofty goal. 210 was the old high. I'm not so sure that we are going to go over that. I'm not sure we're going to be much under it as well. I think the thing about the corn crop here in Illinois is that there's a lot of variability. Yeah, there's folks that are going to tell you, hey, this is the best corn crop I've ever had, no question about it. But there's also going to be several folks, especially when you get into I would say the northwestern quadrant of the state, in the western part of the state, where they're going to come in significantly below what they were expecting, just like in the middle of August. So I think there's going to be some disappointment there as well. It's probably going to end up averaging out to something a little bit lower than what the USDA is currently forecasting.
But at the same time, the Western Corn Belt, Scott, we've heard some, farmers say, listen, I got in there and it's better than what I had anticipated heading into harvest. So do you think the Western Corn Belt is going to see yields actually rise coming up in this next USDA report?
I do. That's what the anecdotal reports that I'm hearing. In my home state of Iowa in particular, my family farms out there, and our early yield reports are quite good and better than what the USDA had in their August and September reports. So I think that the Western Corn Belt is likely to probably offset any declines in the Eastern Corn Belt.
Okay, offset the declines, but Matt, when it all shakes out, do you think it's going to significantly change the yield and the production picture if we do see Western Corn Belt yields go up and maybe the Eastern Corn Belt yields come down?
It sure seems to me that they're going to be offsetting. I don't think that we're going to change a whole lot. I could see us going up a little bit. I could see us going down a little bit. But as far as the U.S. number goes, I just don't see it changing significantly.
Okay, well, Joe, at the same time, when we look at this demand picture right now, a lot of question marks also when it comes to demand. And so as you see export inspections, as you see some of these sales hit the books, are you concerned about demand?
I do have serious concerns in the month of September, which is sort of time to really make hay in terms of export sales, was slow. Some of that was sort of some of the stuff in the Gulf that we saw, slowness of movement. But in terms of just making export sales, we saw a slowdown in pace, and that means we've got to kind of pick that up somewhere else later on in the marketing year.
A slowdown in sales. What about actual exports? We know Hurricane Ida, the impact that it had on the Gulf. We knew that there was going to be a time where we would see a slowdown. Has it been significant?
Yeah, I mean, on the sales side, not on movement itself, but on sales. I mean, if you compare this year to last year, sales in September were sort of about half of what they were in September a year ago. So we really kind of need to pick up the pace if we're going to get to the export number that USDA is projecting, 26 million metric tons going to China. That number is pretty big, and we're just not on pace to get there right now.
Do you think that forces USDA to make an adjustment in their next report?
I do. If you look at the Beijing attaché report that came out last week, they're projecting 20 million metric tons of corn imports in China. So I think that number is going to come down. It's a question of how much.
Okay, so Matt, it seems like there is some concerns about demand. As you look at the production picture kind of changing, we have seen some price pressure when you look at corn and soybeans. Is it just harvest related, or are there other factors weighing on prices right now?
I don't think there's any doubt that there's other factors that are going to weigh on prices. My personal opinion, this corn market, though, has hung in there quite well going into harvest. I mean, you've seen, still pushing 550 at times, and December corn hanging out in that 530 to 540 area. I think producers should feel really blessed by that at a time whenever, obviously, we've seen a little bit of pressure. But I think moving forward, you've got to ask yourself, what impact is this report going to have on us? And I've got to think that as long as you don't see a significant adjustment as far as carryout's concerned, I don't think you're going to see a big price difference. I think you're still going to be looking at this chopping around market and a lot of sideways movement.
Okay, Scott, you agree with that?
I do in the short run. My personal outlook is that there's a lot of downside risk, especially in the corn market, from these lofty levels. And given the demand kind of issues that Joe talked about, I think there we could see prices just kind of grind down through the rest of the marketing year.
All right, well, we have a lot more to discuss here on US Farm Report. Let's take a break and we'll be back with more.
Got equipment to sell privately but tired of scams and hassles? Visit MachineRepeat.com and click Sell Mine. MachineRepeat.com, the simple and secure way to buy and sell equipment online.